So let's talk about how you decide what's going in the book, where it's going, and how you don't leave anything out, because that is my nightmare.
Well, I always said you got to plan your ladder, and your ladder has to be planned for the whole year. This whole idea of just planning the first 16 pages and then hoping it all comes together, that has got to go.
You can't. You'll get all the way to this point and realize you've forgotten something important that you haven't put in the book yet.
Plus, you need to use your pages in a logical way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need a double page spread on math, all right? I don't need to see just kids sitting in their death in math. So I think that we need to actually utilize more coverage and more stories on these pages, and that requires planning. So Sarah, what's a ladder?
So a ladder is a blueprint for what you're going to put in your book from page 1 to page whatever your last page number is. And we look at every page, every spread, and talk about what's going on it and when that will be submitted to the plant for
That's
printing.
right. Why don't you show them what submission? We submit hopefully in signatures because that's how the plant prints. So we print on these giant sheets of paper, right, Sarah?
It's 8 pages
On each
per
side.
side, and then they fold it. And if you take one of your books and you look at it really closely, you can actually see each signature bound
right.
together. So when we plan our ladder, we really want to think about these 8 to 16 pages and how they go together.
Right.
So for example, like it might be a good idea to put men's soccer and women's soccer together.
No,
Why?
They're playing 2 different times of the year.
Right.
So that doesn't work because then I can't submit these 16 or 32 or 48 because I'm missing something. And we need to submit as much as possible so that we can get it printed early. Drawing pages takes longer than printing, and that's very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So ladder planning. You need to sit down, and I like to do a list. Everything that's happened in the fall, everything that's happened in the winter, everything happens in the spring. I like to put all my sports teams, okay? Now, this is why chronological ladders are better, because if all of a sudden we decide that, oh, there are not enough kids tried out for JV baseball, then I've got time to change that because it's in order and I can move things up. So it's really, really important to sit down and plan this. And we're going to preach this all year. The first thing we're going to ask you is, where's your ladder? Let's talk about the ladder. And we're going to look. And I don't want it to just say sports, sports, sports. I want it to say exactly which sport is going where. If there's going to be interviews on that page, it needs to be as detailed as possible. Let me tell you, hope is not a strategy. I tell people this all the time. You cannot hope it all comes together.
That's right.
You have to plan it. So this first few weeks of school, let's nail that ladder down.
And we will be glad to come in and work with you. We can come to your classroom or we can work with you virtually and help you do this. If you're new to it, if it's something that you've always struggled with, let us help you. We've done this, oh my gosh, hundreds of books a year for multiple years. So one of the things that I hear the most, the most negative feedback I ever hear about your book is deadlines. And I mean, deadlines are part of life. If you don't pay your water bill on time, that sucker gets turned off.
I always tell people that deadlines are important. If you wait to the last minute, if every page is due at one time, you're going to have a mental breakdown because unfortunately your kids know that. And they are just going to put things off. And it's just their human nature. It's not like they're trying to do anything wrong. It's just that you'll be submitting football in March, where football was finished in November. So the ladder has to make good sense for your deadlines. I like to, after I've completely set up my ladder, go in and make sure I've color-coded it for every deadline. This is all going on 1. This is all going on 2. This is all going on 3. You've got to make sure that every staff member knows what is expected. Because I find that students who do not meet deadlines, they sometimes are those who just don't understand the significance. It's not like turning in a late English paper. It's just not. You're holding up an entire production, all right? So once you get that ladder done, then we'll just talk simply about how to set them up for your deadlines. And I always say you don't have to have a deadline. You can submit every day. If you had, let's say you had 60 pages due on deadline 1, and you just decided every time you finished a spread, you submitted it. And if you're doing chronological order, you're not going to mess up. So I think it's really important to understand that you control your deadlines, and you control it with many deadlines. Don't wait for all of it to go at the same time, right? Have a process.
Have a process. Planning might feel boring, but the amount of stress it will cut down on for you for the rest of the year is insane.
Yeah, like right now, we didn't plan for the doorbell to ring, but I'm
right.
going to go get it. Be right back.
So I'm going to show you how to properly put a background on a spread. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click and you're going to press change background, and then you can edit the background color like that, like just a one flat color, or you can add an image, and this fixes the problem of bleeding off the page.
Hi Yearbookers, I'm Laura Malarkey. I work from my home office here in Philadelphia. I mainly help Kim and Sarah with marketing yearbooks, but I also do some Yearbook Avenue tasks and other behind the scene things while they're on the road. I look forward to working with all of you this year, and I hope you have a great year.
I know that the idea of plan is like boring, but the people who plan are the people who are not stressed about their deadlines at the end of the year.